recording.
Got some stories that I wanna tell you. So won't you come and go with me? Time to be real, time to heal. Singing Photographer Podcast. Life true revealed.
Everybody put your hands up. Hey, 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 hey.
Life true revealed.
Like, share, subscribe to my daddy's podcast.
And so for the artists that's searching for that sound, I always tell people, everyone has a sound. Your fruit may not look like mine, and that's fine. But you need to get the best and maximize the best out of what you are bringing to the table. So whatever God gives you, let's make that the best. So if you're searching for your sound, never try to sound like nobody else. And I'm not going. I ain't calling on that. Just using an example. Like think about when Kim Burrell came out and hit it big. You saw a whole lot of people, and I'm talking about gospel and R&B. Will come out and try to do Kim Burrell to the T, and then some of them can. But we heard Kim. I mean, Kim is Kim.
Yeah.
Karen Clark is Karen Clark. I mean, you ain't gonna be no more Karen Clark. I mean, that's who she is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so my point is, you have to learn how to take what you like from people. That's fine, but you need to still have your own sound because we don't need another 20. Because there ain't gonna be another one anyway.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another inspiring conversation here on the Singing Photographer Podcast. I am your host, Ron J. McCray, and guys, we have another exciting guest on our show today. We have not moved beyond Detroit. You know, we started with Carvin Winans, and on Friday, my interview with Fred Hammond will be released, and now we have someone who is a music producer, a songwriter. He also sings himself. I heard him rapping on a YouTube interview, so I'm gonna throw rapper in there as well. He's a husband and he's a father, and I can't wait to introduce to you all Ernest J. Lee. So, singing photographer community, welcome EJ Lee to the podcast. What's up, brother? How are you?
Man, what's going on, man? It's good to be here with you and good to be seen by your audience, man, on the Single Photographer Podcast, but it's all good.
For sure, man. So let's go back. What month are we in? We're in July. We met at the Avidity Awards, and it was after the show. I'm taking pictures, you know, behind the scenes, and I had the opportunity to take a picture with God's Property and the Family. I was like, wait a minute. I didn't realize who I was in the room with. And I was like, yo, I grew up on you all's music.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
the literal part of the literal soundtrack to my life and my introduction to gospel music. And so to have this opportunity to have you on my podcast and, you know, having to have connected with you prior to today
Yes.
has been and is such an honor. So again, thank you for joining.
No problem, brother. Thanks for having me, man. This is always a good opportunity to share your story, to share common stories and common things that knit us together. You know, this is a we say it's a big world, but it's really a small world, and it's really a small community, man. But you know, as long as we stick together and have community based conversations, it's all good.
I really, as I mentioned to you before we started the interview, I really enjoyed researching and learning more about who you are through like previous interviews and information that Google has. And so man, I feel like they are going to come up in every conversation that I have about music, and that's the influence of, you know, the Clark sisters, Twinkie Clark and Dr. Maddie Moss. So tell us, before we go there, where you are from, and a little bit about how you got into music. How did you know that God was calling you into music, and around what age maybe?
Well, I am born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. I'm a D boy. Clarkson's, as you said, Commission. I mean, come on, the wine and Vanessa Bell Armstrong, Lisa Page Brooks, Witness. I mean, Michael Brooks. I mean, everybody. You know, Rudolph Stanfield, Thomas Wilson. We can go on and on and on. You know, that's not even counting Motown and all the R&B people. But of course, I'm a church boy. So I grew up in the mid '80s. That's when I first started. I was 12 years old. when I got my first appointment as a minister. When I say minister of the music, part of the music team. How about that? Because we didn't have those titles back then. And before that, I was 7 years old. My mom, I would beat on stuff around the house. Those that are old enough to know, we had back. You remember we had those hi-fi stereos.
Mm-hmm.
The big old long monstrosity of a stereo with the radio down into the album. So we had one of those, and my mom they would always listen to music. My dad, they are not musicians, but they would always listen to music. So, it was always music around the house. My dad would be outside fixing cars with music blasting, would clean up music blasting. So I would always be listening. And my grandmama used to always tell my mom when I was younger, hey, you got to watch him because he's really, he's special. He's this, he's that. And of course, you don't know what that means at that age. You know what I'm saying? But he has, I don't know what what we call has anointing on his life back then. I don't know if that's what she said, but she just said, hey, he has something special about him. And so I was 4 or 5 years old. I remember her saying that, God rest her soul. When I got 7, I was beating on the hi-fi.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom, she's like, what are you doing? So I'm beating on the thing. So they bought me drums. So I got my first set of drums at 7 years old. So I started self-taught playing drums. I was replaying. And then a couple years later, when I was 10, my middle brother, and my mom took their little money and bought me a Casio keyboard. A little 30, I think it was 30 something keys on it. And so they bought me a little keyboard, and I would sit by the hi-fi stereo and try to pick out notes. I mean, I can't even explain it. It's definitely a gift from God for sure.
Yeah.
And so I would start hearing bass. I would start playing the bass line, and then I would gradually start doing melody on my left hand. So I would be playing bass and melody. That was it. And so, and from there, man, it just God, I mean, he's so awesome in what his plans is for your life. You never know what that means. But I thank God for my mom being intuitive enough to know not only what my grandma said, but what she saw in her own son. He said, hey, let me invest and sow into his musical ability.
Yeah.
And so from there I was like 10. So I think I just started playing different things on the keyboard melody wise. And so um my auntie played at now she took lessons. So that's my mom's sister. She played at our home church, our family church. It was right down. So I would sit, and me and my cousin would be fighting over the drums. So then I got tired of fighting on the drums. I'm gonna get on this piano while she's playing in service. So I would sit at the piano while she was playing in service and just try to pick up what I heard. You know what I'm saying? Because it was a small church. There wasn't no, I would just kind of glean in my ear. That's how my ear got so good, just hearing what the chord progressions was, what they were doing harmony wise. Just kind of gleaning that gift, working that gift at that age. And so um my mom switched churches when I was 12. And we went from our home church to a church in Inkster, Michigan. Bishop Wayne, he was one of Bishop Daniel's district elder, Wayne P. Jackson, back in the day. He has the Impact Network now, so they still doing what he does. We went to my mom she's a prayer warrior, so she's intercessory prayer. That's her niche. So she would go to noonday prayer every day. So during that summer, when I was out of school, I would go with her all the time. And so then she started going to Monday night prayer at the same church. So Monday night prayer, we sitting there one time, man, and we had just started going there, and it was 1985. And
On yet. I wasn't even born. Jeez.
I'm thinking myself, I know it's all good though. 1985, we went to a prayer service, and they got up, they would sing this song all the time. Saints don't stop ready, for the Lord is nigh. Saints don't stop ready. So a couple times I went, ain't no big deal. So this one time I never forget. We sitting there, and my mom, I don't know, I guess it was the Holy Ghost. When we say the Holy Ghost, she nudged me and said, "Go get on the organ." And I'm like, at 12, I'm like, "Go get on the organ." I mean, so I go up and get on the organ. I said, looking at me like, "How this? What are you doing on the? No, it's the piano. Go get on the piano." So I gets on there and I hammers it out a little bit. I'm not playing, probably not playing it right, but I'm tuning it just enough. So the pastor comes out the back and says, who is this little guy playing the keys? So he looked at me and said, "I'll never forget this, and that's why you got to be in the right house." He said, "I want you here next week, same time." And I'm like, "Okay." So I go the next week. Now at this point, I'm like trying to remember how. So I'm on my little Casio trying to hammer out the chords. So the next week they sang it, and I'm playing it a lot better. And so he was like, "Hey, from now on, you here on Monday nights. I need you to come on every Monday night." So he started giving me like $10 out of his pocket. And so, just as a little incentive, to come. And so I would say maybe like about 3 months later, man, he bought a keyboard. He called my mom to the house. He had bought me a bigger keyboard. It was still a Casio. I think it might have been, yeah, it was a bigger Casio. Bought me a bigger Casio, had the little drum machine on it and everything. And so he said, I want you to practice every day. So thank God for people song. See, there's a message in this.
Yeah.
He sung into that.
Yeah.
So I began to, practice, and about 3-4 months later, man, by the top of the year, he became the pastor. He was an interim at that point. He became the pastor. And he told me, he said, listen, they had a musician over there. He couldn't come during the week. He said, listen, he bought a synthesizer back when we called it synthesizer. He bought a Roland Juno 106. I'll never forget it. He said it, how the church was made, the organ sit there facing the pulpit. He put that keyboard behind him and said, listen, every week you sit behind him and you learn everything he does on that keyboard, on the organ. And I sit there, man, for about 6-7 months, man. And by that time I could carry the service. So he hired me as a musician. I was like 13 at the time. So my point in saying all this is not only that my grandmama speak it first, then my mom cultivated, then we went to the church that he actually took it further. And because I always tell people, you can tell me something, and then everybody learns different. Everyone learns at a different clip. I'll say that. But some of us, like me, I learned by hands-on. So he didn't know that, and I didn't even really know it then. But him putting me in that position, hands-on, propelled me a little further. So that's how I got started, man. I got started writing first early.
Man, like what you said is so key. Like as the theme for everything that you just laid for us is someone at an early age saw the God-given gift in you
Yes.
and was willing
Yes.
to invest in it. Like that's so key for parents and caregivers that have gifted and talented children. And the only way that you notice that is by paying attention to the
Yes.
and being present with them. And
Yes.
like
Exactly.
I've never said this in an interview before, but like when my son was in the womb, I prayed over his mom's belly, and as the Spirit led me, I started speaking like into the gifting that he would have, and the him having perfect pitch. I remember the Spirit moving me to say that, and I remember and him being musical and having the ability to play multiple instruments and singing.
Yes.
And just like you, like somewhere around 1, he was beating on pots and pans, creating sounds, and like music would always catch his attention and try to mimic what he heard to the best of his ability. And around 2, I heard him like humming some music that I was playing, and it was in the exact pitch as the artist. I was like, And as he got older, the same thing, like he would hear me singing, or again, I'm playing music around the house or his mom, and he's singing it in the exact pitch. Or I brought him to a rehearsal and, for the worship team that I was, singing on. And he was like, although he was in the room and not on the team, I heard him like singing the tenor part perfectly. And the worship leader was like, that kid has perfect pitch.
Wow.
So, I had one of the music instructors from Howard University work with him to test that theory. And he said, yeah, it seems that he does. If you keep working with him, and cultivating it,
Yes.
we'll definitely have it. So shout out to the parents
Yes.
who pay attention, the aunties and the grandmas who paid attention to the EJs. It was seed.
Yes. And think about it. You would not be where you are without that, because at the end of the day, how you start is how you are. That's your foundation. Your foundation. That's why so many of us, and I know this is a part of a whole probably different conversation, but that's why so many of us get kind of messed up when we're younger if we don't have that foundation right. And that's not saying it's a bad parent or anything like that, but you have to guard that, because it can get easily contaminated with the wrong thing, the wrong information. So thank God, as you say, for those that watch, as well as pray and as well as pay attention.
Absolutely. So you have these people pouring into you. You become the musician by 13 of the church. Take us further.
Hey, so then, so that's 13. You know, I began to play. You know, playing. So it's so funny. The guy that was there was, I mean, he could play, and he would play great. But I remember around 16 when I was getting ready to graduate. The pastor would be looking. He would be looking over there when he get ready to preach, and he wasn't a great singer, but he could tune. And so I remember when he would get up, he would look over at us and do like this. And he would want me to get on the keyboard. And I'm thinking, like, I felt so funny at the age because it's like, how am I getting this grown person off this keyboard? You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
you know, and even to this day, I tell musicians now, you know, it is, and I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm gonna come back to this. But this, I want to make this point because we're here. Even playing behind a preacher,
Mm.
I started at the early age because so many times that's a lost art when it comes to musicians. You know, and it's some of them uses the time to work out, as we call it, or to try to do chorus. I'm not against none of that. I'm just saying, but I learned at the early age that there was a merit in the spirit when it comes to the minstrel and the prophet, you know, meaning the preacher. Um, that's why I believe that Saul called for the minstrel. I mean, of course, it may be a different context, but if you think about it in theory, it's the same point. Like, you got to have the right musician on when you're preaching. You got to have the right sound, and I think I learned that point at an early age just based on that happening. He probably didn't even know what he was doing, but it cultivated me how to flow with the leader. Is my point. So I began to do that at 13.
Wow.
Um, but then, of course, you know, I was a growing young man. So now you're talking about uh the girls coming into play. You're talking about, you know, the me trying to navigate that, me trying to make sure that I'm living holy because I went to an apostolic church, you know, and we basically, you know how that goes, heaven and hell,
Mhm.
fire and brimstone. So, you know, I began to have my pitfalls at that age as well because I was the man. I was you know, I was there at the early age, so I grew up in front of the church is what I like to say. Almost fishbowl. You know, everything I did was magnified to the 10th power because I was a musician. My mom was the worship lead, intercessory prayer. My brother was one of the ministers. He's a real bishop in the Lord's church now, but you know, at that point he was a minister. You know, it's like so I was like the little problem child too, on top of it was
Mhm.
running concurrently with me being in this position. So, you know, that was I don't as I look at it now, I don't, you know, I understand it, but I didn't really understand it then.
Mhm.
I was at church every day because my mom was at that time had moved to become the first administrator, well, secretary of the church of the pastor. She was the first secretary. So I was with her. They would pick me up from school in the church van.
Mhm.
You know, so you know, I literally would be at church all day after school. And so, you know, that was almost an embarrassing thing too, because now you're talking about I'm cool in school. You know, I'm trying to be, you know, find myself, but I'm also at the end of the day, I'm going back to church. So, you know, it's like I didn't really have a childhood either. I did, well, I said childhood, but that teenage years, that 13 to 20, it was a blur because, you know, I was at church all the time. I didn't even get to go to the prom. My graduation Sunday, I had to come back to church and play that night. So I think a lot of that, while it was good on the spiritual side, it was kind of not good on the developmental side.
Mm.
Because my dad at the time, my dad was in my life the whole time, but my dad went through a drug addiction when I was younger, from that age too. So he was gone from my ninth grade year to the 12th grade year. He was out of the house.
Mhm.
He was incarcerated. So it was just me and my mom, and I'm 8 years younger than my middle brother, 10 years younger than my older brother, all by the same parents, but they just waited late to have me. And so me and my mom really went through it too. So you know, we lived in hotels. We lived with people. You know, people treat you funny when you got to. It's so I think a lot of the trauma
Mhm.
that I experienced at that age also contributed to my work ethic now because I vowed to you know, I remember being you know, playing at church on Sunday and not having a place to stay that night, or you know, they having to take up an offering us to pay for our rent. You know, I've been through all that, and so when people see you now, they see, oh, you know, you dress nice, you got this, they think you're being arrogant. No, I'm actually not arrogant at all. I'm actually like, no, it's I would say it's more survival. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying I'm learning how to move from, and I know I'm giving you a lot now, but we can come back to it. You know, just follow me. Let me flow with it.
Mhm.
You know, it's a lot of us live in that survival mode our whole life.
Mm.
We never let it go because we feel like, and so I'm now learning at 53. Hey man, you already made it. And I don't mean made it in the sense of a star. I'm saying you beat the odds. So just live now. Because I could not live back then. Stuck in a perpetual church situation,
Mm-hmm.
trying to find myself, trying to navigate, being a young man, trying to navigate what holiness meant to me, trying to navigate being a budding musical influence in my area. So it was a lot on me. And I don't say it as a victim, but I say it's the truth. So I dropped the ball a whole lot.
Yeah. Man, that's so good. Like what you said is key. Like as far as the whole living in survival mode and
Mhm.
not realizing the point where you don't have to live in fight or flight anymore. Like you
Yeah.
can rest, your nervous system can rest.
Yes. Yes.
And it takes
Yes.
like if you're not in therapy and you don't have maybe insightful friends, God, he speaks to us in his own
Mhm.
way and
Mhm.
and tells us and shows us that we don't have to live from the traumas of our past anymore.
Yes.
Because if we stay there, it will negatively affect everything around us. And what
Yes.
he's building, we may not be able to get there until he, gets us to the point where we can rest in him. Our
Yes.
person can rest, our soul can rest in him. So that's
Yes.
so valuable what you shared.
Yeah, because I believe that, again, I'm not the biggest Bible scholar, but I've been in church my whole life, so I kind of know certain things
Uh-huh.
just by revelation. Um, when Saul was knocked off the horse and God changed his name,
Uh-huh.
consider this. He changed his name, but didn't change who he was. Because if you think about Saul, what he did, he was a persecutor of Christians. He was hardcore, in other words.
Uh-huh.
Now, if you think about Paul and his writings afterwards, he still was the same person. And I think people get mixed up on when you saved and you are this and that you're supposed to be a certain way. No, you're still the same person. It's up to you to manage all this.
Yeah.
And that's what the Holy Ghost does. It's supposed to teach us all things and help us. But that's where our struggle is from day to day. It's because our who we are and our traumas, our
Yeah.
upbringing, what we did have, what we didn't have, that is what shapes us into the adult that we become, or the older man that we become. And some people are still stuck in those traumas and still stuck in those times. And so, it takes a self-awareness to understand that, yeah, God, he's been with you all the way. But this is why we need him.
Yeah.
Because if it was left up to us, we would destroy ourselves based on, I remember this one of my group members told me this, and I'm sure we'll get into this later too. She said, you really can play. This was years ago. And I said, okay, I'm like, cool. She said, no, I'm sorry, like you really, really can play. And I'm like, okay. She said, but I'm so glad that you don't act like it. And so I like, what do you mean? She said, because I think if you really understood your gift, that you would have the big head.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying that to say, I think a lot of people don't know how to. I don't even look at it like that. Now, I promise you, a lot of people that probably don't think that looking at me because they probably think certain things, but man, I don't even be paying attention. I really just be living. And it's because I've always had to just go. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing, man. But I wouldn't take nothing for it. I think it has made me become the man I am. So I'm not mad at it at all.
Yeah. And I can, say in the limited time that I've known you since meeting you at Avidity and, you know, starting the process of working together on a song. And I look
Mhm.
forward to us finishing that,
Oh yeah, most definitely.
but
Yeah.
you have been one of the most down to earth, like touchable, reachable individuals. You don't carry an air with you at all. And,
Mhm.
knowing the roster of artists that you've worked with and played for and connected with, meeting you, you wouldn't get, no one would, you know, walk away from EJ Lee feeling like he's above. He treats me like he's above me, and that's
Yes.
very valuable. Thank you for
Yes.
humility.
Oh yes, it wouldn't be. My mother would be mad at me if I walked around here like I was somebody like that. It's at the end of the day, God gives us what He gives us.
Yeah.
Now it's up to it's up to us to manage it. We have to manage all that. You know what I'm saying? You ain't no greater than because I'm not at the Grammys and the Stellars Awards every year. Don't mean I'm not great.
Mm-hmm.
And because you're at the Grammys and Stellars Awards, don't mean you that great.
True.
At the end of the day, it's all about opportunity and time. Everything
Yeah.
happens in time.
Yeah.
Your time may not be my time. My time may not be yours. So at the end of the day, you cannot carry yourself like you doing so much and nobody else doing nothing. I don't even subscribe to that myself. That's not how I am, man. Who cares? At the end of the day, it's what are we doing right now?
So let me paint a little picture.
Mhm.
I heard you mention in a previous interview that, at the time you couldn't afford music lessons. And
Yes.
so, this pioneer who has influenced countless individuals in the music world, Dr. Maddie Moss Clark, one of her daughters was
Yes.
playing. And,
Ye-
because you couldn't afford the lessons, this individual allowed you to sit in the hallway to
Yes.
listen to her play. And that happens
Yes.
to be who?
Twinkie, the Ebenezer Twinkie Clark, the queen of the Hammond B3 organ. Yes. My church, as it began to, and then my church was on TV from 89, 88, 89, all the way up until now. And so my point in saying that is, so we had a high profile ministry even for the area. So I think in 1989, it might have been 90, but I want to say it's 89. There was a young man came to our church, Keith Johnson. He was Dr. Maddie Moss Clark's administrator for her choir. Uh, and just her personal, just assistant, kind of personal assistant. And so, of course, he came to the church and he noticed my gift because he was in music. Um, and he said, "Man, I'm gonna start taking you down to the conservatory just so you can meet everybody." I was a young guy, and so again, like you said, I couldn't afford no lessons, man. We were struggling, and like I said, my dad was kind of gone, and it was a lot. And so I remember him taking me down to the conservatory on 7 Mile, and I just remember seeing Twinkie come out the room one day,
Uh-huh.
and I just was froze. I'm like, "Oh my god," you know what I'm saying? Because of course you know what this is, and I'm thinking
Yeah.
like, man, she was, thinking like, man. And so I just remember like just being in awe. And so he didn't say anything to her. He didn't, he just say this is Ernest and blah 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 blah. And so I would sit there, be with him, kind of just milling around, kind of listening
Mhm.
what's going on. And so she said, yeah. So she said, well, play something for me. And I'm like, play something like I got. And so I said, well, I tried to play like a little congregation song. So she showed me a few little chords. And so she said, you can just have a seat right out there and just kind of listen. And so every other time I could get it, because we didn't have a car, so when we would go, I'd be begging them to take me down there so I could listen. So it was times, I would say about 3 or 4 months, man, where I was there maybe like 2 or 3 times a month, just sitting outside their room, hearing Dr. Clark do lessons. Call Sam. Like, who is Sam? Like, she been there was a vocalizer that used to be like, who is Sam? I mean, I hear all this stuff, man. Here, Dorinda would be in that too. A lot of people don't know that well, I don't know about Jackie, but I know Karen and Dorinda both play.
Mhm.
And they actually were teachers, vocal and keyboard teachers at the school. So
Mhm.
I was just like looking at these people like, I mean, these are like superheroes at that time and being that young. So, so just saying all that, man, I think it shaped my ear,
Yeah.
being able to hear parts and hear harmonies and hear things. And just, I'm so grateful to that, and then I was able to, as I got older and more known, I was able to work with Twinkie on 3 or 4 different records and stuff like that. So that was a full circle moment too. Just producing her was a whole different thing. You know what I'm saying? Like seeing her at a live session and me actually being able to produce her. And
Mm.
then she worked on one of my records. When I was with Malico Music Group, my record from 2006, she was on there with me. I'm singing on the song with you, and I can't sing at all like that. But I just haven't been on the song with her. It's just amazing, man, how God does.
Wow. So what were the midnight musicals like? Like, I hear a lot of artists talk about it. Take us in the room from your lens of
Well, see, at that point I was still young, so I didn't really fully grasp the depthness of who was in the room.
Mhm.
At any given moment you would have first of all, Betty Cathedral was a big church. It was jam packed every time. So we'd be sitting there like we get there like about 8 o'clock, and it wouldn't be Twinkie didn't even get to like 10:30, 11 o'clock. I mean, this is how these musicals went on for hours. And so you had James Moore, you had Rudolph Stanfield and his group, you had Thomas Whitfield, you had all the Clarks. You had the Moss brothers. I'm talking about. See, people don't probably remember. They know Jay Moss as being the dope singer and dope producer he is now, but he had a group called the Moss Brothers back before when we was kids. Bill and his brother Bill. They had them. You had Vanessa Bell Armstrong. Again, I mentioned Lisa Paige Brooks. I mean, all these people would just be there. Then you had a lot of people from out of town would come.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot. Man, it would be you could go to Betty Cathedral to see Dr. Timothy Wright. I mean, you could see.
Wow.
I mean, all kind of people. It just be crazy. Aretha Franklin might come through. I mean, it's just weird.
Yeah.
Just being, the Winans, Bishop Winans, and all them. I mean, it's just
bro, I can't describe. I think that's why people from Detroit are so arrogant when it comes to music. Because it's like, man, being a kid,
Yeah.
we had all this going on. We've been there, done that. But it was, here's the level of musicianship,
Mm,
the level of singing,
mm,
like the level of just knowing your craft and just captivating the crowd and how to work the crowd. Like, Dr. Clark was a stickler for certain things. You know what I'm saying? The people always comment about, her throwing shoes and stuff like that. But she really just wanted the best from what she was trying to do. And she was a musical genius herself. And so to hear Twinkie in the 80s doing stuff that we had never even heard of. Like I remember this is what captivated me with playing key bass. So I think this had to be like 87. And so they would march in. So the Clark March said that would be the highlight. The choir when Southwest, I think it was Southwest some choir. I think that was the name of the choir. They would march in. And I remember Twinkie she had just got this new, I think it was the DX7 keyboard. And so she had on top of the organ, and they ain't had no bass player. Even if they did have a bass player, she was playing key bass. And I remember she was playing this line, and I was like, I had never seen anybody in person play two different keyboards. I mean, she played keys and organ on here. I'm looking like, how you doing that? I mean, just as a kid, that's blowing your mind. Now it's commonplace. You're like, but I'm saying, like, as a kid, you look like, how is she doing that?
right.
And so, like, just seeing those things in real time,
Yeah.
seeing how they would, being in rehearsal, seeing how they would arrange certain parts, and
Yeah.
why not do this part here and let's take that out, let's put that there. Like, I think it's so invaluable to be able to see that at a young age, because then it shapes the way you approach music. Bro, I can't really even put it in the word. It was weird. Like when I say weird, I'm saying the good word. Like just seeing all that in one room.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine James Moore coming in and just demolishing the place, and then Twinkie get up, and then Pastor Winans get up, and then you got Vanessa Bell come over. I mean, it's just, come on, man. Like how can you top that? This is weird. It was weird.
I'm just putting this out there now, Lord. This is my prayer. I gotta get Twinkie on my podcast, Lord. Like,
Yes, sir. I can connect you to her people.
Yeah. So with that being said, let's transition to production. So from my lens of experience, I understand that the artist-producer relationship is kind of like a marriage. There has to be a trust that the artist has in the producer to create the sound that is unique to them. While, like, I've heard you mention in an interview that sometimes producers will create artists that sound like them versus, producing the artist with their original sound. Two-part question. How does an artist like a Twinkie Clark, who has an established sound, comes to you and entrusts you to produce a record for her? What is that process like? And then compare that, or contrast that to the artist who's still searching for their sound. What is that process of discovery like that establishes their sound?
Okay, well, I'm gonna take it. Working with Twinkie was kind of in awe for me because I was still young at it when I did. When I did her when we did the first time. As we got further and further in it, of course, she started to, I started to learn more about her sound. And what I'm saying is, you got to know. Okay, it's like if you want to go. Okay, let's use a thing for today. You want to go to the new seafood restaurant. Well, you have to get, most of us, we're going to get on there and look, we're going to Google it and see what's the reviews like, what's the food like, what's the prices like, what's the ambience like. So I think the first thing we have to realize is when you work with an established artist, you got to understand them. What's their sound? What is their nuanced? What do they like to do? What are they known for even? And so let me pull it from Twinkie and go to my wife, actually. So my wife, Keisha Grandy, Lee, she was from Kirk Franklin family. She did Tyler Perry plays I Can Do Bad All By Myself. She was with Kirk Franklin at the age of 18. She led the video version of Silver and Gold. She led Save You More Than Life, He Loves Me on the New Nation Project, Night the Christ Was Born, I think. And I'm saying all this for a reason. So she had an established sound. So this is what happened. So when I worked with her for the first time, she kind of little broke me almost, because she was like, hey, wait a minute. I don't want we didn't want Grammys, and I've been all over the world. So I'm saying it can go both ways, because now they have to trust you. So the first time I actually vocally produced her, she was looking at me like I was crazy. Like, what? I'm just going to sing.
Yeah.
But when you can get in there and show them that you're not an adversary,
Mhm.
I'm only trying to enhance what you already do. Because
Mhm.
I hear, even though you have your sound, I'm going to hear things that's different than you would,
Mm.
and I'm going to interpret it differently than you would based on, yeah. So now we have to bring your version of it and my version together and make it happen. Um, and that's what it is. It's almost like a trust, like a marriage. And I'll tell you another person I work with on R&B side. I work with Tony Terry. Now everybody knows Tony Terry from When I'm With You. So Tony Terry, he was on Epic when Michael Jackson was on Epic. So he was with all the top producers. Now this is what he told me. This is one of the biggest compliments I ever got. I did an R&B record for him in 2016. I Tony Six, and he told me during the process. He said, "Man, I've never been vocally produced until I met you."
Mm.
And I said, "Okay," and it started to make me realize what you just asked me. Like, what is okay? So what does this mean?
Mhm.
And so I understood it's not that you're trying to make them sing the way they don't need no help singing.
Mhm.
What we're doing is bringing out the best of your voice, bringing out the best of your nuances that you like to do. Bringing out he's a falsetto guy. So let's try this on that falsetto instead of you just doing it the way you do. And when it's a good marriage or a good trust there,
Mhm.
it comes out to be a great project.
Mm.
And so for me, it's all about trust, and it's all about everybody respecting what we bring to the table. I'm not trying to change your singing.
Mhm.
I'm just enhancing what you already have.
Yeah.
Because that's what think about this. LeBron James is one of the greatest, if not the greatest player of all times on basketball, but guess what? He still has a coach.
Mhm.
And so we have to look at it as a relationship, as a coach almost. It's not so much trying to tell you yeah, you already a Grammy Award winner. You already Twinkie Clark. You already who you are. But that does not mean that you can't nuance this even more and and that's what my gift does. So my gift makes room for me and say, okay, well, this is what EJ Lee would do.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's almost like a give and take kind of situation.
Uh-huh.
And so for the artists that's searching for their sound, I always tell people, everyone has a sound. Your fruit may not look like mine,
Mhm.
and that's fine. But you need to get the best and maximize the best out of what you are bringing to the table. So whatever God gives you, let's make that the best. So if you're searching for your sound, never try to sound like nobody else.
Yeah.
And I'm not going. I ain't calling on that. I'm just using an example. Like think about when Kim Burrell came out and hit it big. You saw a whole lot of people, and I'm talking about gospel and R&B, will come out and try to do Kim Burrell
Mhm.
to the T, and then some of them can.
Mhm.
But it's like okay, we heard Kim. I mean, Kim is
Right.
Kim.
Yeah.
Karen Clark is Karen Clark. I mean,
Right.
you ain't gonna be no more Karen Clark. I mean, that's who she is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so my point is, you have to learn how to take what you like from people. That's fine, but you need to still have your own sound
Mm.
because
Good.
we don't need another Twinkie. Because there ain't gonna be another one anyway. But I'm saying we don't need. What I'm saying like there's not another Kim Burrell coming.
Yeah.
She's one of one. Even Kirk Franklin, Kirk don't sing, but he can sing, but he doesn't sing.
Mhm.
But this is the thing. Everybody, he's one of one. Like how you can't. I mean, I'm not saying you can't talk on your records, but I'm saying he already mastered. So you got to take that and not try to be another one. Just take that and enhance what you already have.
Right.
Because you have to believe in the gift that God gave you. If you don't, you're going to become a clone. We don't need no more clones. We need originals.
Yeah. Hand clap for that one. That was good.
Thank you.
Go ahead and drop your put your Cash App in the comment section and bless you. That was good, man. That was really good. I just speaking transparently, the gospel community of the music industry is saturated with immense talent.
Mm-hmm.
As you mentioned, the Karen Clark Shears, the Kim Burrells,
Mm-hmm.
the Vanessa Bell Armstrongs, the Kirk Frank, so many. And so for artists, like myself, it can be intimidating, it's
Mhm.
like I can't do all the zigzag runs and
Mhm.
the echo, the
Mhm.
things that we, admire these artists for. But I think what you said is key is trusting what God has given us because
Mhm.
it's unique and distinct to us. The world hasn't heard the sound of the new artist who's afraid to step out and let people hear them.
Yes.
But the world has heard the Karen Clark Sheard.
Mhm.
And so we will never know what God is able to accomplish through our lives if we're
Yes.
not willing to extend our hands and work the gift.
Yes.
Thank you.
You got to. I mean, that's why he gives you the gifts for you to cultivate. think about the story in the Bible about the talents. Some people buried them, some people hid them, some people, they use one of them, some people multiplied all of them.
Yeah,
But guess what? That's on you. You need to die empty, not full.
for sure.
Meaning, you need to get out what God has given you. It's their soul. I know we hear this all the time, but we got to remember to believe it.
Mhm.
There's souls that are attached to Ronald
Uh-huh.
that others can't reach.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't mean I can't minister to them, but there's certain souls that attach to your ministry that will be intrigued by what you have to say based on what your sound sounds like, what my sound sounds like. So so that's why we can't compare. Comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah,
Because when you're constantly comparing yourself, you're not going to be happy about what you got.
yeah,
So I'd rather have significance over success.
yeah. That's good. That's
I don't pray to be successful. Pray to be significant.
Mhm.
Because being significant, that means you can't easily be replaced like that because I'm significant in my own space
Yeah,
because that's what God has given me. So I don't need to be just successful
right.
because you can be successful and don't nobody be studying you. So you need to be significant. Make yourself valuable. How do I make myself valuable? By being me. There's only one me, and it's okay. That doesn't mean you're arrogant. That means there's only one me.
Yeah.
Now we have many choir directors, but can't a lot of people outdo Ricky Dillon?
Mm-hmm.
Ricky Dillon is one of, I'm saying because he's uniquely him. That's why he does. Now, that doesn't mean you can't do some of the things, but he mesmerizes by himself.
Uh-huh.
And that's okay that he knows that.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean he's arrogant. I mean, he knows he's the choir master. Okay, let's go. Donald Lawrence. It's not a lot of people can arrange like Donald Lawrence. I mean, he is a genius when it comes to certain sounds and certain timbres. He knows all this stuff that we ain't even heard of. Like, sir, he's a genius. So how can I can't, that's what he does. So, and that's okay that he know he's good at it. And we got to stop trying to dumb people down. Like, oh, you ain't supposed to be. No, he's good at that. That's what he does.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, so my whole thing is, man, if you don't embrace who you are, you'll always be chasing notes.
Mm.
You will. No problem, brother. It's real. It's real.
So when you think of producers that inspire you, uh, and it doesn't have to be gospel producer, it can.
Most definitely.
Who are your top 5 musical or production inspirations today?
Okay, so I'm an old school kid. So Motown, Holland Doja Holland. The Philly sound, Stax Records, dope. I mean, I love all those, the way the instrumentation and stuff that they did. Barry White. I mean, just he's so underrated on how he orchestrated a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? I'm really kind of old school when it comes to production. The new cats, of course. I grew up. Some of my guy J Dub that was from Detroit was one of the Puff Daddies. Hit me and like that shaped a lot of our production in the 90s. Like they was geniuses. So I can't say that it's like a one person thing. It's like eras. You know what I'm saying? Like I love the 70s era. I love the 90s era. I mean, these jokers was, I mean, even on the gospel tip, when you think about Kirk Franklin when he came out with the family, like that was groundbreaking how that unison thing took off. I mean, like, that was a thing. You know what I'm saying? Not just his talking, but the way he mixed the unison with the harmony. I think that was a lot of that has shaped how I think. I was able to spend some time with Fred Hammond when I first started. Just he came to my church in the early 90s. And he was a member there for a couple of years. And so a lot of that stuff that he wrote during the service, we wrote during the service, you know what I'm saying? And it's, a lot of this, even though Weapon was wrote during the service, you know what I'm saying? We're blessed, all those songs. And so I'm saying, like, even that tip, like taking spontaneous worship and making it to something. Like, it's a lot of things that influence the way I write, just being around it, you know what I'm saying? Just seeing him work on the commission record Matters of the Heart, like Dare to Believe, that song that they did that record on, and just being in the room, seeing how they put those things together. I think all of it has shaped what I know today. On the R&B side, I love. I know people don't like to mention his name, but R. Kelly was a heck of a vocal producer. You know what I'm saying? Teddy Riley, the New Jack Swing. I mean, it's if you listen to a lot of these older cats, man, it's so you'll learn a lot by just listening to what they had to bring to the table, man. And so, what's the guy? Darkchild, of course, and you know he had it on lock. I mean, I listen to a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I just what I don't do is just make it be what I copy.
Yeah.
I take a lot of what I hear and just kind of make it to even though that's we can't think about like the Hawkins family, like the
Yeah.
way that they did those change, like they would go into one key and then end up in another key. Like those are things that were innovative. Rick Richard Smallwood. I mean, come on, man. It's so many. I appreciate all of it because I feel like that's what makes gospel music and music. Because you think about it, if there was no Commission, there wouldn't be no Jodeci.
Yeah.
You know, so if I love Commission, if I love Jodeci, I have to love Commission because they influence a lot of this stuff. So it's like, man, you can't take away from none of it, really.
Yeah. Now, top 5 artists inspire you? Or is it just eras? Because I can say the 90s was the best era of music.
Man, 90s is, I mean, it
Same
ain't, we don't need to talk after the 90s. The 90s is just, I mean, come on, man. Artists. Commission, Kirk Franklin, Richard Smallwood, R. Kelly, Prince.
Okay. Good ones. Very good ones. So when you think of legacy, what do you hope that your legacy is?
That I did what God wanted me to do. And I know that sounds so churchy, but I'm not even trying to be churchy. I'm serious. Like, we have so many pitfalls in life. We have so many mistakes that we make. So many uh people. I could be the greatest thing to you and not what to the next person. I could be all that you needed me to be over here, and this person over here say he wasn't. You know what? So at the end of the day, I want to be able to say I did my best, and whatever I offered was from the heart. I want to be remembered to be authentically me. I didn't try to mix with the crowd. I didn't try to mingle what this person is doing. I just did me. And what I mean by that is because at the end of the day, bro, I really believe that God. I don't even believe I know that nobody ever taught me nothing. Meaning in the sense of music. God gave it to me. So my legacy has to be what he told me to do. And I want to be remembered for doing what he told me to do. And that means I work with a lot of independent art. It's a lot of times, you feel like, okay, well, you ain't at this, you ain't at that.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I poured into so many artists as it relates to even on the independent side. And just making sure that they felt like they mattered.
Mm-hmm.
Making sure their music was out and coded right and ISRC codes and making sure this is registered for media bait. It's just some things that you have to teach artists as you go. And it's almost like a pastor, almost like a secondary leader.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm pastoring these records almost. And so like I wanted to be remembered for just being authentic with people. You know what I'm saying? I might not have been the best person. I might have had some things I did wrong or things that people say I did wrong and didn't do. But at the end of the day, it don't matter. At the end of the day, was I me?
Yeah.
Did I leave it all on the court? And that's what I want to be remembered by.
That's good. Leave it all on the court. I'm taking
that. Yeah.
So you were nominated for, was it 2 Grammys and 2 Stellars? Is that correct?
Well, as part of the project, yes.
Okay.
So, along this journey, a lot of times you don't realize stuff that you worked on has been nominated till later on. So, I didn't even know that till later on because, certain things when you come through the systems, because, my publishing was messed up, and that's a whole nother story. You know what I'm saying? My publishing got messed up back in the day. And so I'm getting that corrected as we speak now, actually. So it's a lot of records I've been a part of that wasn't credited. A lot of unpaid royalty. I got a lot. You know what I'm saying? So that's a whole nother, we can do a class on that all day. So, I'm at the point where I did not go the legal route with it because at the time when I was coming up, when I got signed to Warner Records in 2002, which was Malico, a subsidiary of Malico, there was a situation, with a big name artist in the group. We didn't call them names, but we knew that was happening back then. And so they told me don't even go that route. And so for me, I didn't even think about it. So a lot of times I didn't find that out until later that some stuff I worked on was Grammy nominated. So I'm not ashamed to put it out there because it's true.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, been nominated GMWA Excellence Award. I go back that far. You know what I'm saying? So, it's been a journey, but I really don't even, that stuff is cool, man. But at the end of the day, man, so many people chase it. It to me, it's kind of cheap now. Almost not. I'm not disparaging the work. I'm saying the way people go about certain things, they'll push you out the way to get themselves in possession. So that's what I mean when I said.
Yeah.
I just do me. And so the awards and the accolades, we just was on the ballot this year, and it's fine. Right now, today, what's the date? August the 5th. I have 3 or 4 songs in the top 50 on Mediabase right now, that I produced and written. So, you'll never hear me mentioning us because at the end of the day, bro, who cares if my life ain't matching up to it? So I love it, and I thank God for everyone. We ought to be lying if we say we don't want to be acknowledged.
Yeah.
But what I am saying is I don't chase it. That's why you don't see me. I don't be having to be mingling with all that. I don't have to announce, oh, I got the number one. I mean, hey, cool. But at the end of the day, bro, if it ain't, what difference do it make? Because guess what? Let me say this. Let me bless someone with this. There is so much that goes into a record that people they don't really. All we see is the artist out front normally. And so now that I've been working with Black Smoke Music, I see, Kerry Douglas has had, I think, 90 something number one records over his career. And so it's no even big deal to him, but a lot of people don't understand. They think it's just because it might be money. He can't. No. If you saw the work that goes behind this, and so I'm saying this to say a lot of these producers and singers and all of that, I got the number one, I got this, and it's cool. But it really ain't got to do with your production. You could be the best producer in the country and not have a number one song. But you know what? It takes a team to get that record number one. And I think a lot of times this is why I say I don't even really be thinking about it like that, because if you ain't on the right team or you got somebody, thank God if you do got somebody pushing your record as a
Right.
producer, the songwriter, because that is getting you more work. So there is a business side to it now.
For sure.
But to chase it, I mean, you got to. It has to be the right situation. I work under the volume umbrella instead of I had a lot of records out here, and you may not even know I did it. You know what I'm saying? And that's fine. I'm okay with that. But that's the reason why I just stay under the radar, man. But don't chase all that. Let it come. But what's for you is not gonna miss you.
Yeah.
So like I said, you if I didn't just want to tell you, probably even knew I got 4 songs in the top. I got 4 right now, I think, in the top 50. But it's okay. But guess what? It's a team pushing them. It ain't just me.
Yeah.
So it ain't. I'm so great a producer. I'm just my pen is so anointed. No, bro, that's cool. But there's some horrible records been number one.
Yeah.
So it ain't really got to do with you. Like, so I don't even roll with people like that. I mean, that's cool if that's what you do, but that's cool. I thank God for everybody, and I'm not a hater. I really celebrate everybody, but I'm learning, and I'm gonna say this, and it's probably a little controversial to some people, but I'm learning, and I know we say this, I don't even saying this, but it's the truth. I'm learning to match people's energy when it comes to me. Like, if I'm not gonna be pumping you up and you won't pump me up, and that's just how I am. I ain't doing it no more, and it has nothing to do with me. I'm not a hater at all. I'm happy for everybody.
Yeah.
But certain people will want you to pump them up. They ain't gonna stunt you when you're doing it, and so for me, it's wasted energy. So I'm not trying to fan out and cheerlead for you because you got number one or you're in the top 10. Okay, good. All right.
Right.
No, that's not a hater. It's just me because when it's my turn, that's what's gonna happen. You ain't gonna say nothing.
Exactly. Silence.
So hey, congratulations. Let's keep it moving. So that's why I don't be on that, bro. To be honest.
Yeah. Man, it's been an incredible conversation. Like,
Yes, sir.
So many gems. I think this is I'm gonna have you back for a part 2. There's
no problem. Let's do it, brother. Hey man, let's do it.
But I respect your time.
Let's do it.
So take a moment to shout out your wife.
Yes. The incredible Keisha Grandy Lee. She has a song out right now. It's actually about number 40 something on the chart. We just released it 3 weeks ago. I Believe God is out right now, streaming everywhere. So happy about your Kia's out right now, streaming everywhere. She's in the top 20, I believe, right now. We got some things going on with Keisha's working on the brand new record. Lachey Knox, I just dropped a record on song on her project. We got a lot of Ernest Pugh, man, Human Gurney collaborate on something, man. So that's going on. But going back to Keisha, man, I'm so happy that she is finally getting the recognition that she deserves. She's a legend, and not because she's my wife. She's a legend. She's an icon. Her voice has been on records all over this world. She's been all over the world traveling and touring since she was 19 years old. So thank God that God allowed her to come back with the family. We just did a live recording with the family this past weekend in Houston. So we got a lot going on with them too. But Keisha Grandy is a gem, man. Please check her out. She got some things coming up, some really, really big things coming up, man. So thank God for you, sweetheart. We got to have her on here too. Because she is a gem, she is an icon, and she's iconic. And I want her to always know that she's loved. And Van, pick up the phone. That's who Keisha Grandy is.
I love that. If ever, whenever I have, couples on or someone that's married, I love to give space for them to talk about their spouse. So
most definitely.
For sure.
Most definitely. She's a wonderful person, great singer. You know, they call her the growls queen. You know, I try to tell her, she always say, you know, I don't sing like these young people. I said, but guess what? They don't sing like you either. And what I mean by that is
Yeah.
they trying to do what you've already done.
Right.
You don't have the first thing I told the family was when we went to the studio is Kurt Franklin and the family is one of one.
Uh-huh.
There'll never be another moment like that. He hit that thing and went to the stratosphere. What you need to do is find out where you are right now
Yeah.
and work. And so the same thing I told her, find out where you are right now. Just work. You got your voice is what it is. Your voice is signature. So don't try to change it to fit what you think today is.
Yeah.
So when you listen to Believe, I Believe God, you'll hear the range and all that stuff, but you also hear that she's just a natural born flat foot singer. You know, and so, you know, it's like, you know, it's a lot to this thing, man, as an artist. So, you know, never chase ghosts, man.
Yeah.
What I mean by that, just because you did it 30 years ago don't mean you can't do it now.
For sure.
Don't chase the ghost, chase where you are now. So I thank God for her, man, and what she's doing. She's a phenomenal talent, man, and we moving.
Yeah. EJ, thank you so much for your time and
No problem, man. Thank you for having me.
shared. Oh, absolutely. And I just want you to take a moment, these final minute or two, to pray for artists who are stuck, you know, and
Mhm.
they're having a hard time seeing the path. You know, pray for those individuals, brother, and then we'll close out there.
All right. Well, Father, in Jesus' name, we do thank you for this day, Lord. We thank you for this time. We thank you for this platform, Lord, the singer photographer. We thank you for Ronald and his vision, Lord, that you've given him, Lord, to just speak to the masses concerning what it is that they have to share to your people. So right now we bring every artist, every creator, Lord, every situation to you right now, Lord. You know you have given us what you've given us. You know the gift, Lord. You know the call that we have on our life. And we know that gifting call has no expiration date. And we know that right now what you call us to do, it shall be done and it shall go forth. And no weapon formed against us shall prosper, Lord. Every word that has come against us in judgment, you already condemned it. So bless these creatives, bless these artists, Lord, bless these producers, Lord, bless these songwriters that are doing it for you, Lord, that are doing, Lord, what you call them to do. Lord, open up doors that no man can shut. Lord, close doors that need to be closed. Lord, continue to give us what we need, Lord, to push this gospel forward in song. Because if we can minister the word, Lord, over the pulpit, we can minister the word through song and through dance and through production, Lord. So let us begin to always count you, Lord, as Lord and Savior of our life, number one. For you are the author and finisher of our faith. And we thank you right now that we are moving under open windows of heaven. And we thank you right now that nothing can stop the move of God that's over our lives. In Jesus' name we pray and believe. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, EJ. It's been a blessing having you.
No problem, brother.
All right. God
Thank you.
bless.
All right.